coming very shortly.
Sorry, Chair, do you want to do the first two items?
Yes, it's being done through Kerry. Kerry's going to put the slides up. Anyway, for those that aren't present, we have the pleasure of Kimberly Littlemore. You want the first two first?
Well, first item on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Okay. Sorry, Kimberly. Any apologies for absence here?
Yes, one from Francesca, Councillor Francesca O'Brien.
Declarations of interest?
Yes. I have a personal interest because I'm in the wrong club.
Oh.
As long as both of those.
Okay. Right. Got that, Ian? Right. Okay, then we'll try again. Anyway, welcome, Kimberly. And Kimberly is giving a presentation. Is this being recorded?
It is, Chair, yes.
For those that may see it later on, Kimberly is representing the Mumbles Yacht Club and giving a presentation on its possible future development.
So thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be here representing the club. And the reason why I'm here is to represent the work that we've done as a strategy group over the past year since the pandemic and the effects that's had on the club itself. We're really grateful for the support we've had so far in the work we've done from Will and Andrew and Francesca, and for you very kindly giving us the funding to do the topographical survey that's allowed us to get started. So that's really good. So we really want you to know about all the plans and ambitions, because obviously we're hoping you'll be able to support us practically then as we go forward. So last year we started our work with this team of people, some of whom many of you will probably know, sort of glitterati of Mumbles and sports activity. And we considered our four main challenges, which were funds, membership, volunteering and facilities. And we consulted the Royal Yachting Association, the RYA, just to see whether we were alone. And of course, we weren't alone at all. The challenges that we're facing at the club are exactly the same as many clubs are facing all over the country. But what was really useful is that they gave us a lot of information and analysis that's going to really help us make some practical and sensible decisions about what we do. For example, evidence that backs up what we're seeing when we look out of the window in the yacht club, that there's a shift towards a wider range of water sports and activities. It's not just sailing, water skiing anymore. We've all seen the growth of open water swimming. I'm sure you've all seen people ploughing around the bay, and stand-up paddleboarding. And it's quite extraordinary, isn't it, across the country? If you look at that left-hand line, open water swimming over the last however many years has gone up dramatically. But the stats and insights help us really understand that it's down to the way that younger people, largely down to the way that younger people are doing things differently, specifically Generation Y and Generation Z. Do we say Z or Z? I don't know. And it doesn't mean ignoring, of course, all the other generations who might be smaller, but perhaps they've got more purchasing power. But Gen Y will soon be the largest segment of population. So it's really important that we work with them, listen to them and cater for them and their interests. And this next slide summarises the shift of interest in outdoor recreational activities. And the findings are also being confirmed in a survey that we're doing locally with people about what they might be looking for in a community water sports centre. This next slide is quite painful, but I thought I'd share it with you. It shows that our club's losing £10,000 a year. This is close to wiping out our ever diminishing reserve. Our safety boats are all over 10 years old. Our truck just died. We had to buy a new one. The building needs renovating. The roof needs replacing. Rising costs everywhere. We were delighted to win £50,000 from a grant application to buy some new boats from Sport Wales this year, which will soon roll down the slipway for our children's training. But we've got to find £10,000 to be part of that £50,000 before we can get all the money. So it's tough. So we've got to do something fairly radical if we're going to survive. So we're trying to find ways to be more commercial, working with collaborations like the Sup Hut. They can start using our changing rooms in exchange for a percentage of their teaching fees. We're exploring sponsorship opportunities with local businesses. We're trying to run more events. But you probably know that the council now charges £1,000 a day for using the NAB for a sailing event. So we've got to get a lot of people to come and bring their boats before we can start making a profit. We've redecorated the club ourselves on many occasions, but we've got big challenges with insulation, asbestos, energy efficiency. The layout of our toilets and changing facilities, they all need reconfiguring to give privacy for adults and children in our increasingly diverse club community. We also know, probably like you, that the pots of money are diminishing, and when we apply for a grant, we're competing with people who are trying to feed children their breakfast. And although they know that outdoor facilities and outdoor exercise is really good for well-being, it's still urgent to take priority when push comes to shove. So then we looked at membership. We need 50 to 100 new members a year to tackle our £10,000 shortfall. We actually get between 1 and 21 a year, which is tough. We've consulted locally about local clubs joining us, but because we don't have access for people with disabilities, nor facilities for our LGBTQ+ community, and our membership fee structure is not seen as flexible enough. So people are saying, well, when you do a new building, but at the moment, it's not really attractive enough. The club's been run by volunteers for a very long time. But it's no secret, as I'm sure you probably find when you run community events, it's getting harder to find people volunteering. You will also know better than most that being involved with your community can help support mental health and well-being through learning new skills, giving to others, being sociable. So clubs like Mumbles Yacht Club are a really important feature of community life and to be encouraged. And this next slide I find is really important too. Mumbles Yacht Club's got a sailing and rowing heritage that goes back to 1938, so we think it's a really valuable part of our village landscape.
Just forgot on that,
Yeah.
the rowing part.
Is that going even longer?
Yeah, I think it's the oldest rowing club in Wales.
Wow. So even so.
Yeah.
We took these next pictures at the RNLI Santa Run just before Christmas, and I remember that lad in the middle here, and I remember him being on a Newt Sweet course donkeys years ago. And then you look at him, he's part of the lifeboat crew. And if you look at almost all those members of the lifeboat crew, they almost all learned to sail at Mumbles Yacht Club and learned their seafaring, got their seafaring expertise. So not only is the club important for well-being and socialisation, it's actually a really important part of our coastal heritage and providing crews for the lifeboat and for the coastal rescue services. So our first attempt at preservation was to cost up the renovation of the existing Mumbles Yacht Club building to make it fit, accessible, energy efficient, etc. Pretty quickly we worked out that knocking it down and rebuilding it would be more cost effective than trying to refurb. Very soon after that, after we explored grants, we realised it was going to be incredibly hard to raise the money. And then one of our fabulous Mumbles councillors, sitting to my left, said, have you considered going across the road? So I texted everybody on the group and said, has anyone thought about going across the road? And I said, no, what do you mean? I went back to Will and said, what do you think? So that basically changed everything. So I know it's taken us a while to get to our current plans, future plans, but I really wanted you to understand how we've got to the point we've got and why. And to understand the options that we've considered before recommending what we think is to be the most practical and realistic proposition to save Mumbles Yacht Club. And it was really important when we did our community consultation at the Yacht Club that we showed that we've looked at all these options and properly considered them. So what we're proposing is a new community building on the NAB Rock. If you change the slide, please, Kerry. A Mumbles Water Sports Centre to incorporate our clubs along with other clubs and organisations, potentially with some variants of membership, hosted in an inclusive, low carbon, low energy building right next to the water, no road to cross. So we're currently working towards a pre-planning application with the architect Hugh Griffiths, who's involved in so many local projects, and his team, that includes, over on the left there, apartments on the Yacht Club site and parking on the ground floor beneath the apartments, and then a new water sports centre that you can see looking like some kind of spaceship in front. So the existing council office, which you can see on the next slide on the plan. Oh no. The existing council office, public facilities. No, sorry, you were right. The existing council office, public facilities, including the new change room for disabilities, which is there, and the boat garages.
That's the right slide.
Yeah, that's it. So what we would do is we would have all our boat storage on the bottom. We'd have our sort of gym and social areas in that middle area, and then on the top would be a bar and 180-degree view of the sea. And the height of that, of course, would depend on the conversation with the planners. These are the flats behind. So Swansea City Council officers have been extremely positive about the idea. They've indicated that our existing ground lease would be terminated and a new lease negotiated with the developers of the apartments. We would negotiate the existing lease on the garages for the new building, and community asset transfer, new exciting buzzword that I've come across and now learned to love, lies at the heart of the council interest. So they'd like us to run the public changing room and perhaps even the slipway as part of our remit. Clearly, we'd have to generate enough revenue through a new operating model to pay all the costs involved. Otherwise, I will be cleaning the toilets, as everyone keeps reminding me. The other thing we need to be able to do is find a philanthropic developer who will be happy to share the profit in the development of the flats, and in an ideal world, allow us to start building the new building while we stay in the old. And I have had a conversation with one property developer who said that he was prepared to do that, but he had quite a lot of fear of that. Whereas I'm not sure how to do it.
Sign something.
But yeah, it's just fine.
Yeah, say it first.
Exactly. So we're really interested in being an attractive visitor centre and tourist destination, collaborating with local businesses, with catering space, possibilities for events.
I just sit for this bit. Most battering.
With daily or hourly opportunity to rent boats, paddleboards, e-foils, attending lectures, hosting clubs and societies, citizen science events, historical coastal walks relating to the sea. You name it, we want to make it attractive, easily affordable, and a great place to learn more about water safety and being active. So this presentation was well received when I gave it in April. I was so relieved. I was standing there like this and everybody clapped. So that was really, really exciting. And then again, the AGM last night. Were you there at the April?
No, I couldn't go because of the council meeting here, the main meeting, so I can't go to the
Can't be
plan meetings.
But we did a little quick summary at the AGM last night, and still everybody's very much on board because they can see that there aren't many options given our financial state. The leadership of BCYC are positive. I'm doing a presentation to them in a couple of weeks. So our next steps are to submit a pre-planning application. Hugh's just finishing. He needs to work on the flats to get that in, because the pre-planners of Steve Smith has said that we should put in the pre-planning application for the flats and the new building at the same time. And then we're applying for a capital development grant from the National Lottery, which is a maximum of £50,000, hopefully to work up to a position where we're ready to go out for tender. I haven't spoken to Verdi's yet. Perhaps it feels a little bit early to do that, but I know that's something I need to do. And if you do know them and can make an introduction, I would be very grateful, because I don't want to frighten them and think we're going to be competing with them.
There's been so much news buzzing around about this. You sure they don't know about
They
it?
probably do, yeah.
So it's still you get it.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. I know. So we've got this survey. This is something I'd really like to ask you for your help with, please. We're gathering hundreds of responses. We had 265 when I checked yesterday, and we've got an ambition of getting 500 responses, because the National Lottery Development Grant is really all about what does the community think about this. So this is quite a long and quite a detailed questionnaire, but it gives us loads of lovely graphs that are telling us what I guess we hoped we'd find, which are people are really keen and are looking for this kind of easy access to the water. And it's available in English and Welsh, so if I can perhaps give you the links at the end, it would be wonderful if you could circulate it. Thank you. And then another final request for help. We've got, we're trying to crowdfund the £10,000 that we need to put towards our £50,000 boat grant allocation. And we would really appreciate any help with that too. We had another £200 this afternoon, so we've got to 1,000, and we have a local businessman who said that he will match what we raise. I know, which is rather fantastic. So, you know, we've got every incentive. We've got till the end of August to raise that money. So we don't actually have to get the 965. I need to check. They've added on the. We had 9, and I added on the bit we had to do for the platform. Bit for the platform once again. So hopefully it will just be 10. So that's where we're at. I'd really appreciate your help with that. Those 2 things, and then at the end of my contact details in case anybody wishes to.
Can we put that on our website, MCC site? Or a link to it at least?
Yeah, because if their people's kids are going to be doing Newts Week, you know, they're the ones who are really going to benefit.
Okay.
Sorry, have you thought of putting out to schools and asking them to put it on the internet?
We have started to, yeah, we have. That's why we've got as many as we've got so far in the Welsh school.
Because with the skate park, schools are really boost.
Right, okay, that's really good.
Very, very much so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's brilliant.
I think quite obviously running at speed at the moment. You know, you've made a very comprehensive presentation, and will you be able to sustain that speed?
Very determined,
Yeah.
because obviously I want it built immediately.
So where
it's a long road. That,
crowdfunding platform?
It's on the, I can give you I'll send in the links for it, but it's currently on the front of our Facebook. It's on our Facebook page, a featured thing on our Facebook page, and it's on the Mumbles Yacht Club website.
Thank you.
But I've got the link that I can send.
Will?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, firstly, congratulations, because it's a huge amount of work, and you know, you've done an absolutely fantastic job. The energy, you can really feel it, you know, it's great. As you can imagine, we get approached a lot about asset transfers, different projects here and there. And for such an early stage, it is far more organised than I've ever seen anything before. So, you know,
Yes.
really well done, because it's well presented and people. So, you know, great job so far. So it's really impressive. If that is what happens, which I really hope it is, it'd be absolutely fantastic for the village, and it'll be a huge asset for everyone. And I'm sure if that's built, it will be more than sustainable and make a lot of money. So, you know, obviously, you're not asking the council for too much at the moment, and you know, hopefully we can support in whatever way we can going forward. And I think, you know, whatever you need from us, you know, doors open. I think everyone, isn't it? And
Yeah.
you know, it'll be absolutely fantastic. So well done, and yeah, we're here for you, whatever you need.
What about the stall at Mumbles Festival, the Mums Fest? Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put up the plan.
Bucket on the front.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. Thank you.
Card reader for donations.
Yeah.
A card reader for donations.
That's a really good
I thought we had a car.
Few beers,
Next to the bar.
yeah.
dinghy. I can bring a dinghy and we can fit it.
Oh, brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
Get a picture.
The room though that we. Yeah, great idea.
Maybe we could have a boat called Mumbles Community Council or something. We could have a boat naming competition. That's what people.
Brilliant idea.
But you would pay to enter.
Boat face.
Yes.
Yeah, voting on a boat face.
Boat and a boat face.
You're renaming one of their own boats, actually.
Similarly.
How about you pay to put a name for it?
yes.
Rental, that'd be good. Yes. Take it.
Do you the raft race?
The RNLI, but we help do the safety for it. So you guys don't think they're going to, because they've got their own project, haven't they, the RNLI, so it might not give us. Come in.
Hi there. Somebody's me in.
Yeah.
Hello. How are you?
Can ask in schools when they have their, they want the money, when they have their summer days, where they let you up there just to give out information and things like that. Summer fun days.
Fun days. That'd be a perfect sort of little thing to sort of tag on to. I know Klein Gardens often has things going on during the summer that they might be happy for a little bit of extra interest and things like that as well. Friends of Klein Gardens will organise those.
How can I network into because I think he's trying to bring the city council along with us. are there ways that I read somewhere or somebody was advising me about, getting it, this whole place, Swansea, or something sets a place, and also getting us as people excited about how it could be part of a tourism attraction, so that we get that continue, because so far the council have been really, really positive, but I want to make sure that they keep feeling positive and they keep thinking, oh, that would be really useful. Are there sort of ways that I can network to keep the people abreast of what we're doing? Because I know that there's this thing about Mumbles people are all very, on it and this, that and the other, but how can we make them feel like they actually just want it?
There've been a number of sort of conference things recently, haven't there, Will? A lot over in the arena, sort of the business community, has one once in a while. That I know City sort of organises these networking events. Is there something that might?
Yeah, I think I passed you Tracy McNulty's email thing, but she's head of tour. She's her and Robert Francis Davis is the cabinet member, so I'll ping you both their details again, but they're best to pick up.
It's knowing when the best time is to tell them. I mean, I don't know whether to wait till we've got, because if we've got a pre-planning application, that's the time then, so that they know it's not just a.
I've spoken to her about it already, so she's aware that the project's sort of going forward. But I'll send you both their emails, and whenever you've got your pre-planning, then
With a pre-planning application, you can pay a little bit more, and then you have a private consultation with the planning department, and they go through your planning application line by line. So why are you trying this on this? We did that with the skate park accidentally, but then it was such a boon.
Okay, that's really good bit of advice as well.
It does take a little more time. But obviously, the reason I say that is because sometimes grant windows and
we're allowed to hit a particular date, so that's all right. Well, look, thank you.
Moving on from time, what is the timeline, or what would you hope for, or what would you wish for?
Ideally, within 2 years.
It's 2 years. Yeah.
But it just depends how quickly everyone can move.
I think
how well people respond to my bullying.
that you've got Angela, Francesca, and Will on board. That's a good start, a good link with City. They're very slow in dealing with community asset transfers, but they will smell a bit of money saving on this one with you taking on the facilities down there. So that's a positive. What I mean by the toilets and etc.
Yes, of course. Do you think that there would be any, because the other thing we've thought about, which is a bit massive, is to build a tiger basin around that part of the bay so that people could come in and anchor and you could always get.
I've looked into it already. I've spoken to people at MRW, and I'll have a conversation. It's a long contract. We'll have a chat at the time. Yeah. It's a tricky one, but possible.
That's the way
People want is a seawater swimming pool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pool and boats that you can keep in there, all your ribs, because that would bring the place into.
They did laugh when I mentioned it first of all. As you can imagine.
With that, you need a lock, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, either a lock or a sill.
Yeah.
So you can still only look, you just have a sill, so you can just get out at a certain point in the tide, but earlier than you would have.
Aspirations are good, but you've got to be realistic.
Well, that's what but it was just that when we spoke with, what was his name? The guy head of the States? Jeff Bacon. He was like, sell us a dream, because he was really excited about that idea. So
Well, there's already been a big push to get a swimming pool, a freshwater pool. There was a big petition for it last year. So you will have people backing with that straight away.
I will say that in our sort of investigations with the skate park, and from what I've heard from everything at Underhill, be it the park and whatever, mums are very much the sort of the driving force when it comes to building the facilities that they need for the children, and certainly you can get some and dads obviously as well, but it's we've noted the fact that
The last net factor.
yes. And certainly, if you can find an interested group to do something that would roll out to schools, something very simple to raise a little bit of awareness, like make a paper boat and make it a sale kind of thing. You know, a little competition or something like that. Doesn't have to be expensive. Doesn't have to be, but it, you know,
Yes, I get
if every school child raised £1 for that, it would create a little bit of a buzz.
Yeah.
Ownership of the project, which is what you want.
Yeah.
That's it, exactly.
That's a big
But,
thank you.
you know, and it does help. It creates that interest, and certainly, you know, when Pam and Sarah started doing the sort of the consultation work 7 odd years ago, you know, regarding the skate park, you know, those children still remember now, you know, what it's like to have that sort of you know, little dream fulfilled, as it were. So yeah,
Don't ignore the older generation,
No, indeed.
because there are a lot of people of the older generation who are playing tennis every day and swimming every day, and would really be a good group to have behind you. My slogan all the way through was from a lady who was 80 who said to me, give them something to do and somewhere to go. And that was my mantra from the start then. But she was in her 80s when she said, and they were so keen. But there are a lot of active people out there.
There was one of the ladies I know that said she'd love to go sailing but doesn't want to get wet. If you could get a fleet like David, GP14s and the Albacores of olds that used to be sailing when I was a kid, and you could have like 8 of those, and you could just go in and do a race, and it's not too long, and it's fun, but still wildly competitive, but you just don't get chucked in the water. And
They've got the money.
I know, I agree.
You don't know, I know you go for children, but don't overlook that age group.
Yes, I think you're right, absolutely right.
I am.
I'll just make the observation. I mean, it's funny. As we were chatting before the meeting about, you know, sort of the paddle tennis and sort of things. You know, it's very much the case of, you know, there was a smaller element in the Mumbles area that don't have access to, you know, being able to afford to, you know, do sailing and you know, water sports, etc., which is you know, a bit of a shame. However, if we lose the club that provides that, there's going to be none.
You could go saying we've got boats like these boats we've raised the money for, you can use those for free.
That's right.
It's £40 a year as a child to join, so it's, you know, hopefully not beyond.
And you know, looking, and that was very informative to see, obviously, the fact that you've done the research, you've got the information there to show that there is a change. What was interesting to me was the fact that the movement away from competition towards challenges and, you know, sort of working, you know, individual sort of goals. So, you know, obviously there must be changes because otherwise we're going to lose, you know, all these things. Continue to fund whatever. So yeah, it's thank you, because that's very.
I think that, you know, there is the yachting fraternity at the marina, and of course a lot of the boats that are there used to be in the bay here. You know, and so competition, I think that's an interesting point, but there again, there is a lobby that says, well, you shouldn't have a winner. You know, it's.
You do make the point when you came to us before that you want to get away from the feeling that it's an elitist sport.
Exactly.
Yes, I think that's a big angle to take.
Well,
Very much so.
Yeah.
Thank you, I really appreciate your time. And
No, thank you for coming.
Sure.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you.
Huge amount of money for anything. Am I still okay to ask, even if
Always ask.
No, but I ask respectfully, knowing that it might not be possible. Thank you very much. Great meeting. Ian, I'll put those things in emails.
It's lovely, thank you. We've got to see him again.
I had enough of meetings last night.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay. Go on, Dora. Okay, we've done apologies for absence, declarations of interest. Yacht Club is now the elected vice chair for this committee. Haven't had any proposals at all?
Not that I'm aware of, Chair, no.
Proposals?
Happy to propose Pam?
No.
No, you don't want to do it,
Oh,
Pam?
good God, no, just got away from it, don't keep doing it.
Fair enough, fair enough.
And who else is on the committee?
I'll propose anyone else who wants to.
It's a new one.
Here, though, I'm
You can't nominate somebody who's not in the room.
yeah.
So we could defer it.
We could defer it.
Okay, due to the numbers, we'll defer.
I
Smooth.
would be interested if no one else wants to do it, but I'm also happy for someone else to do it if they want to. So-
Okay. Item number 5, excuse me, minutes of the previous meeting of the committee. And that was held on the 20th of March. That should be in your pack
Yeah,
as a true record.
wasn't at that meeting, so.
Everyone happy with that? Item number 6, outstanding actions from previous meetings. We did, you had that, Ian,
I'll
didn't
just run through those, Chair. There's only 3. The first one is number 5 on the list, which is Kerry's, the clerk as a member of Underhill Working Group established the feasibility of installing basketball facilities at Underhill Park. Is that still ongoing, Kerry, or?
Just defer it because I haven't even had the conversation with them yet due to other things that you were aware of.
Months.
Where would that, sorry to interrupt, but where would that be going?
And who was asked for basketball next at Underhill?
I don't know, it's actually come out of the committee.
I think the priority,
I don't we know.
kind of remember something about this. I remember Sarah speaking to me about it. There was a discussion, wasn't there, about
Years ago.
It's years ago.
more basketball hoops, wasn't there, Will? And it was just a question of whether or not, if there was a patch suitable for development, be that a court or a half court, whether or not that could be filled in somewhere. But I don't think it was a.
Well, personally, I'm a little bit concerned here. You know, the land that we have there isn't getting any bigger, it's getting smaller. We've had great discussions and deliberations in accommodating the rangers, accommodating the badgers. You know, I think we're at about our limit. But
It's very surprised me actually. I didn't get that that's an action point. We haven't mentioned that before, Ian Hughes.
Well, it's been going since September, actually.
Chair, can I just?
Yeah.
I think that I suggested about 6-8 months ago a potential basketball at the skate park, and that was in the budget, but there wasn't enough money for it, so it just got shelved. So it might be there.
I think we're investigating sites and potential places, and it was one of the places we chatted about in the meeting.
Yeah, when I looked into it from a Swansea Council point of view, and they weren't keen because it was so close to houses. You know.
So having my hip.
Might be.
Yes, and this meeting. Yes.
Anyway, you know, I,
Kerry, you spoke around the time I was off the hip thing, and I did just give us a bit of news to me. Sorry, darling.
It's okay.
That's a pointy darling with that clock.
I think it's still worth asking.
Well, I
the
think-
question, but I don't think it's necessarily a goer. Do you? Ian?
I think we have a lot more projects.
well, it's, I think we should dispose of it, and if it's to be resurrected again, you know, it's going to be a difficult enough year with the budget requirements and limitations. Introducing something else again. You know, we've got the basketball down at Langland. you know, it's only a stone's throw away.
I agree with you, so much out of the budget to put this in is just
I don't think it's realistic.
feasible.
Shall we dispose of it?
Is one job less for you?
Yeah, dispose of it.
Thank you, Chair. There's only two more, one of which is ongoing, which is number 15, which relates to identifying traffic calming and road safety options near Whitestone Primary School, and that's ongoing with Councillor Sarah Keaton.
Yeah.
The only other one is 23, which is to check whether MCC is eligible for any new grant money in relation to the Mumble Skate Park, Swansea City Council. And
that was because of the policy City had about introducing skate parks. And I think what the idea was that maybe we could write tandem on that, albeit that we've got one, and try and get something back.
Swansea City Council. Have you had a reply, Kerry, to that one, or?
Yes, I have. I'm just trying to find it now. Basically, it's not applicable to us because our skate park is already established and fairly new.
That can be closed.
That's a practice.
Do the actions, Chair.
Thank you. Budget monitoring reports.
Sorry, just one point there. I believe number 16 is still open as well.
That's ongoing. I haven't mentioned it because it's been left open for the RFO to deal with as and when.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ian.
We covered that one earlier, Ian and I.
Right.
Yeah, budget monitoring reports. They're all in your pack. All the payments. I'm sure you've all gone through them.
Is there anything that you
We're waiting for Paul to tell us if we've got any money left over. We thought it'd be this month, but he says no, it's going to be next month.
Yeah.
Just a question to the clerk. Where are we with the fencing quote on here? We've got the budget. We've obviously got it in the budget here. I know that you have been hard working away. Have you got anything to report?
So I had a quote back, which is unfortunately over the tender threshold. So we now need to go to tender for it.
Okay. And any joy with the surface quote? Not yet. It's hard to get to do it, yeah.
So I've been focusing on getting the fence ones first. And then obviously once we've got that in place, we can go for the surfacing ones. But I did contact the company that have done Underhill, and they are so busy and said it was such a small project that they weren't interested.
So it's not worth including I think when we spoke before, we were considering running either or both. So fencing, surface, or both.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, ideally, someone would come in and do the floor and the fence at the same time, I suppose, wouldn't they? Is it worth?
Which floor? It says court 3.
The surface. Well, not necessarily, because it's not in the budget, right? The surface, but it'd be nice to know how much it is, because it really needs doing. It's not safe at the moment. Yeah.
We had a quote for that.
Yeah, whether it's still live.
It's still like the firm was willing to come and do it.
Yes.
I think they were so extortionate, we decided not to go with them. I can't remember.
That was why it went into the tender. That's what Kerry said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to, if we can, get an idea of how much it costs. I'm not sure if.
Kerry, out of interest, you know what that's tender, the one that went into the tender bracket was?
I do, but if I invite them to tender, I don't want to give away their price because it would be unfair competitive advantage to other people who are tendering if they do their research.
Fair enough.
Okay. I think we'll leave that open. The tennis courts.
Leave it open, yeah.
Yeah.
Every year we defer.
It's not going to get
We're
cheaper.
supposed to be getting to that.
We'll leave it open. So
So sorry, what are you talking about? The basketball fencing?
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's our
Well,
main split, really, isn't it? Yeah.
But it was an outstanding action, so we'll leave it open.
Sorry, yeah, as an action. Got you. Understand, yeah.
So we'll move now on to item number 8.
Chair, are you happy to approve the reports, resolve it, to be resolved?
Oh, the budget reports, yes. Yes, it's happy on that front.
Yeah.
Item number 8, approach City and County of Swansea regarding a cat in Ebon Gardens at a peppercorn rent.
Will?
Yeah, if I'd like to speak to this. So we've been approached by traders from Mumbles Community Council and both with the City Council hat on about the table licensing that they had in Hennebont and Southend Gardens, respectively. So Southend Gardens is a little bit more tricky because it's a park and therefore the council class is a park.
Is that the children's park?
No, where the Bulls is and the Tracy Golf section. So during COVID, the council was, understandably relaxed on letting people trade on the spare sites, I suppose they'd call it. But they issued a notice to all of the traders about a year ago to say, look, you're going to be charged from now on. Unfortunately, that was when Steve died, so that communication didn't get relayed to the traders using the sites MCC was taking over from Swansea Council. So there's been a bit of a communication breakdown, which is very frustrating for the traders. Not our fault because it's extenuating circumstances. So it's a bit frustrating. So we've been contacted. Personally, I think looking at Hennebont Gardens and looking at the council's maintenance budget going forward, I think it would be better under our control. I don't suggest that we run and maintain it, however. What I'd suggest is that and this is purely just speaking out loud, and I understand there's a lot more work to be done and thrashed out, but the way I would think is any traders within, say, 100 meters of Hennebont Gardens are given the option to trade from there, takeaways, serve food onto there, like they've been doing. And they pay MCC for whatever it costs to maintain it. And if they're not willing to do that, then we don't pursue it. So it would be kept at a higher standard and the traders would benefit from the outside licensing, so they could have extra seats and things.
Is there physically enough room for, because things are popping up all the time down there, aren't there? So there must be 6 or 8 different cafes and restaurants along there. Is there enough room for them all to say they've got a big enough patch to make it viable?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
They think so. And they've been doing it for a couple of years anyway. And yeah, so that's the proposal. Understand it needs maybe an official.
I think it has to be looked at by more than the 4 people that are here, and Angela, of course. But I have spoken with a couple of people who have approached me, and they're obviously concerned about the maintenance costs. Has there been an offer put forward by these traders that you're speaking to that they would like to contribute to the maintenance, or that they just want it because they want it?
So,
Like they've had it.
Like I said, it's very early stage, and I can't and haven't offered them anything, and because it's not my place to do it. So this is the first conversation right here now. So there's no one's offered or said anything in any detail. So what I'd suggest is that we maybe go away, one of us or 2 of us write something with the clerk, and then it's presented at the next meeting, and we could maybe send an expression of interest to Swansea Council as well while we're working things through, just to get the ball rolling, if it's something that people think that is worth pursuing.
Yeah, I'm a bit, sorry, very quickly, I'm a bit concerned about the way in which members of the community council staff have been spoken to
Yeah,
by certain of these traders,
yeah.
and it hasn't done their position any good as far as I'm concerned.
No, agree,
It's
yes.
absolutely appalling conduct,
Mhm.
bordering on bullying.
So what's we do?
Yes,
Probably
I'm
not
not aware.
Well, it's not, just saying in a general term that there has been an approach made to the council, and certain members of staff have had to put up with
Inappropriate comments or?
well, I wasn't there, so I don't want to expand too much on it, but I think it needs
Not said.
it needs further looking at.
Yeah.
So you need to get a price of how much the maintenance is going to take, so the traders will know if there are 10 of us, it's going to cost us this much money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just chucking my tuppence worth. I mean, obviously it was a garden and it wasn't used for that prior to COVID.
It was a visual.
It was a visual. It was a visual garden. I mean, I would love to see any, garden outside area that we take on, maintained in a way that we would like to see it done, be it, like outside the Ostrom here or what have you. So I would like to see that sort of.
Biodiversity. Yeah.
Thank you. And just make sure that obviously, if it is going to be have a multi-purpose use, that things like litter and social behaviour wouldn't be an issue, and I don't think there has been any particularly since COVID. So not a head on.
Further down then.
One option might be that they organise and maintain the site themselves. I'm just not sure how legally. Clark, could you maybe advise us on that? Is there any other examples of sites where commercial businesses enter into like an agreement or a memorandum of understanding with the community council and sort of like, so we asset transfer it and they could sublease it and maintain it and it wouldn't be our burden, but they have to do X, Y, Z?
Not that I'm aware of, but again, I can do some research and see if anybody in the local area has done it, and just see if there's any best practice guidance out there.
We're actually talking about setting a very high standard that we want as MCC. And then if you're going to hand it over to somebody else, how do you set that standard of what, if it isn't met, what do you do about it? You're saying it's a big kettle of fish, you've got to really talk it through.
Yeah, I think you can put anything in a contract. You can put like that. You have to do this for biodiversity. You have to, maintain it to this standard. You have to cut the grass every week. You have to do this. You have to do that. And if they don't, then you serve them with an intimate, notice.
Of course, there is the other party of this.
Can I bring Angela in now, please?
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, sorry. I like the idea of supporting the businesses and them going on the front like they're doing with Southend Gardens. I'm just wondering how much, because say the council are charging 500 quid for a table, 4 chairs, roughly, and there's 3 businesses that take part in that for the year, that's 1,500 that we gain. Whilst it is some money, I don't know whether that's enough to maintain the gardens for that whole year. But I understand that everyone wants a bit of the green space because all of those businesses will want some outside space and not all of them are going to fit into Southend Gardens. So the overspill would probably be wanted by the businesses into the other one, but we might get kickback from others who want the green space too. So it's really off-putting when I'm talking because I can hear it all bouncing back.
So they claim that they maintained it for the last 2 years anyway, just so everyone knows. They said the council, because they were maintaining it, the council therefore didn't turn up and maintain it. So that's what they claimed. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're prepared to maintain it themselves. So they say, but yeah, more work to be done.
So
Can we move on because we've came to a stalemate here now?
Yeah, I was just going to say, is there any advantage about pursuing, the CAT transfer?
Could I suggest that myself and the clerk come up with a proposal and then email it to the committee and we'll discuss it at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. And the next item. Exercise equipment on West Cross Seafront. What's
Well,
what's happening with that?
we were, this is depending on, because Paul thought we had about £4,000 that we could buy within our own budget. And Rebecca did it's been on, we've done it a few times in our meetings and she got all the quotes. And the only quote I've had is for £1,800 plus carriage for the piece of equipment that's currently broken. I guess you could go for £2,000 per piece because the stand is already there. You didn't going to put a new stand, you just bolt it in. Kerry is expecting that all the equipment that's there will be an end of life soon, even now, even though none of those are broken. I think I put them in at least 10 years ago. The lovely thing is they go right from Mumbles right up through to Males, which is what we wanted. And we thought it'd be a good idea to get 2 done now and then put 2 in the budget for next year and gradually replace it. I was down there on Sunday. It was a mum and 2 people infant school. And they were on one, and a dad with a teenager were trying on another. So families do use those. So the idea was that we talked about is gradually we'll replace them. And the environment within our own budget, not asking for any more money from anybody else. We could do 2 probably this year if Paul comes back and says we've got that money. That's
So
really
it's 2,000 for one piece of equipment.
Yes, I think so. 1,800 plus.
Back some of it.
No, 1,800 plus carriage of the piece of equipment. So I guess you could call it £2,000 per piece of equipment, hasn't it? So she'd done the research on that for us.
And City would install these for
Yes.
free? Yeah.
They were installed for free before.
We need to check that. So the similar equipment from Blackpill on, that's in situ, that's being provided by City then, I assume?
Yes, that's all they said. Would they put in up?
Will.
Yes, I think good, they're well used, they're great. There's better standard of stuff now around.
I bet there is.
Yeah, so I think there's a company called, just one, there's loads, but Outdoor Gym Company. I was looking at their stuff around the hill the other day, it's really good. You can even add resistance to the machines. So if it's, because you're on those machines and you're like going all day if you're a reasonably, fit person, but you can slide like these. It's quite safe. It's not dangerous, but you can add the weight to.
Are they meant to be used outdoors?
Yeah, outdoor gym company. It is outdoor, yeah. So yeah, just have a little. It might be worth looking at, but yeah, they're a bit more expensive, but they'd be much more heavily used. So I suppose.
Could you get that ready by next time? Because the full reps that you have ready for us by June.
Yeah, it depends.
Put it on the June agenda.
Yeah.
I suppose it comes down to then whether City, because they're the ones removing the old equipment and putting new ones in place.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good with putting stuff in it, just not quickly. That's all. It might take like a year or something. But yeah.
Angela?
Oh, I think it's a great idea. I was just going to say, can we also maybe look into, perhaps we'd have to do another proposal, though, would we? Putting them either on the beach, or Newton Park, or all the way along the front into the other wards.
Sounds great. They've been in at least 10 years. At least 10 years.
Yeah.
So they've been worth it. They've really been worth it. Okay. So you can't do anything until Paul's tells us next month whether we got anyone.
Right.
Okay, can I just clarify? Is there any actions arising for that for June?
Yeah, I think Will has volunteered to find out about some off the press new style gym equipment.
Yeah.
And its cost.
Yeah. I've got a quote.
We would very much like to see the existing ones replaced.
So the final item is to agree an agenda item for June's meeting. Well, we've got one. Paul will be back, so we can speak to Paul about what the situation is on the funding.
Paul will be present at next meeting, Chair.
Yeah. I think that's it. Anything else?
You've also got the Hennebont asset transfer one as well.
Point.
From the agenda.
Yeah, well, you've just discussed it now, and you've just said that we'll put a proposal that him and I work on something and bring it back to the next meeting, so that'll be on your agenda for June as well.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, all.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Kelly.
Stop
Good
recording,
night.
Chair.
I'm going to put my little one to bed now.
Good night, Angela.
Night. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.